have done it, made it to the 5 o'clock hour, 5:05 to be exact. Those of you driving home, don't be like JJ. Buckle up. I'm doing a
Or
PS.
close your door.
Was it a door or seatbelt?
It might have been. It might have been the seatbelt.
She said she was almost to where she was going,
Yeah,
so
it
I
might
was
have been
thinking
seatbelt.
seatbelt.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't drive with the dinging. I mean, I almost always put my seatbelt on, but every now and again, I'll get to the end of my street before I do it, and the dinging is like, I can't. But no, don't text and drive. Don't make sure your seatbelt's on. All of the things. The mom in me is coming out. I tell you what. For those of you on the YouTube, I somehow managed to close my window, but I'll be back in a moment. I don't know what I just did over there. That's what's happening. All right, I had a couple of clips I wanted to share from President Trump's meeting earlier this afternoon. Let's start with the first clip. This is Trump responding to the elections yesterday. Possibly.
Well, it should make it easier for Republicans because most of the nation is composed of sane people. They don't want to, if you look throughout history, go back thousands of years, you've always had socialism and communism by different names. It's never ever worked. It's not going to work this time either.
Be a democratic socialist.
Well, it should make it easier.
What do we got going on over there?
That was not me. That was the clip.
The clip itself had a weird play in.
I don't know what that was. I had to make sure I was.
Because they're sane. Because, let's be clear. And, Trump, the media, the liberal media is over here having a little bit of a freak out over Trump getting into a screaming match during the Republican Senate meeting earlier today. That's what we love about him. Take it or leave it. He's not going to. What are you doing?
I'm laughing because it looks like I think it's like somebody's phone in the background just like went off.
Oh yes, I saw that. So Trump actually stopped the press conference and was like, "Is that somebody's phone?" And one of the members of the press, I didn't realize it was in that clip. I was reading about it, and one of the members of the press was like, and he was like, "No, it's okay. It happens." I always, when that happens is, and if I'm at mass, it's always like the moments where you're really like in the, in the presence of the Lord and you're all in, and then someone's phone will go off. It's like inevitable. So here's President Trump answering a question and someone's phone goes off, which entertains me to no end. Okay, so let's go to the second clip. Hopefully no reporters had their phones go off during that one.
The endorsement of Zohran Mamdani means more than the endorsement of Hakeem Jeffries.
Well, they're going radical left. They're going really, you talk about the Democrat socialists. It's really communist. These people. I watched that woman last night. That's not a socialist. I know socialists. That woman is a communist. And what they don't say is that I was 16-0 last night. But mine were a little more boring, a little more mainstream. They were Republican conservatives. But we were 16-0. And if you look over the last 2.5 years, we're about 347 and just about 0. That's pretty good.
I like just
but
about
nobody
0.
writes that. But he picked 3. They won. They beat a guy named Dan Goldman, who's, a loser. He was one of my prosecutors, one of my many prosecutors that they used on me. Dan Goldman, not a good prosecutor, fortunately, but he's now looking for a job. I was very surprised to see, because he's a pretty liberal guy. When they go more liberal than Dan Goldman, they're really into Never Never Land.
Does this tell you that the Democratic Party's
Never Never Land. That's a good way to describe it. They when you've lost Letitia James, when you are too radical for the woman who did a witch hunt against Trump, a witch hunt against the NRA. Now that's a whole different conversation for a different day, that NRA trial. But when you have the woman who is a rabid Democrat and you still manage to out crazy her, then you've gone a different direction. Every single Democrat candidate across the country in the midterms has to own or disown these crazies, because that's where we are. There's no in between. There's no silence. We're getting a lot of people on the planter side hemming and hawing and, oh, well, this and that. No, the guy had a Nazi tattoo and was accused of abusing his girlfriends. This is your candidate. This is your guy. Own it. Now you've got crazies out here making excuses for the 9/11 terrorists, making excuses for Hamas terrorists, apologizing, one of the candidates apologizing for being white. Like, how do you even get to that point? How do you get such brain rot that you're like, I'm going to wake up? And here's the thing, and this is what gets me. It goes back to the men becoming women or women becoming men, whatever the nonsense, gender nonsense is. Oh, they're they, them. You don't buy it. You don't, but you say the words. You go through the motions if you're a Democrat these days, because you know you'll get canceled within your party if you don't. There's nobody out there who is sane, who is believing this. On that note, I will say I saw an interview yesterday with, and I'm going to Bruce Jenner. What is his freaking name now, AJ? Bruce Jenner. Caitlyn. It's Caitlyn, right? There you go. Caitlyn.
Yes.
So he went and got his passport renewed and sends it all in. He's, of course, a Trump supporter. He is someone who is known to say, as a former athlete himself, that men should not be participating in women's sports. He is doing an interview where he's describing the fact that he sends his passport off. He gets it back in the mail, and it says right there on sex, it says M. And he's beside himself because he's got all the paperwork for this to say female now. And you're looking at an interview of him, and he's very clearly a him still, but that's all the plastic surgery and the money in the world can't change the reality. So he says, well, I didn't want to call the president. I had the president's number, but I didn't want to play that card. I have other phone numbers in the administration. Didn't want to play those cards. So I went ahead and submitted all the paperwork to the, Secretary of State, send it back. They come back and they say, yep, still male. And he said, ultimately, he went to Mar-a-Lago. The president wasn't there, but a Secret Service officer, agent, let him leave a letter for the president, and the president hasn't responded to that. There is sanity left in this country. There is sanity in this administration. And in the little things, like telling the truth about that. Bruce Jenner can go by the name Caitlyn Jenner. And occasionally I'll use the name Caitlyn Jenner because I just couldn't think of it just then. Because that's his legal name now. But he's still a dude. All of the plastic surgery in the world cannot change that fact. We are living in a la-la land that we've got leftists who want to sell us on the idea that somehow Bruce Jenner woke up one day, decided to tell his family and then later the public that he's a chick and everybody's going to go along with it. It's not. He might be one of the sanest dudes who looks like a lady, but he's still a dude. You can't change reality. That's how God made him. From conception, he was a dude. Is a dude. I was actually kind of glad to hear that. There was no favors done for him. Nobody went back and was like, oh, he's a Trump supporter. Oh, he's been with us in the past. Let's go ahead and update his passport. Nope. They left it as it was. I'm celebrating that there is the sanity has returned, and as we get these crazy elected officials, whether they be in New York, whether they be in California, because California, I don't even think they're done counting the ballots yet. Like, oh, they literally could have brought these things by horse and buggy and counted them faster. Other nations do count them faster. This is somewhat silliness happening in California. And then you look at Texas. Texas, you've got a Christian apologizing for being white, saying he hates Christianity, buying all into the gender nonsense. Radical doesn't even begin to cover these people. Radical is what the Democrat Party became 3 to 5 years ago. This is otherworldly. This is nonsensically insanity, whatever. And hopefully, and I'll talk about Pride Month when we get back from this next break because I feel like, again, the pendulum has to swing back. We have to say enough is enough. We're looking over at other nations who have lost their identity, who have immigrants that claim racism, and we can't have a conversation about rape gangs. We have other nations who we're seeing their fundamental rights chipped away. They can't talk on X. They can't say certain things. They can't talk about men and women's restrooms without being arrested. We got to talk about this. We got to talk about what's happening here. And as the caller said earlier, this isn't the end of it. We're right in the middle. We're right in the middle of our opportunity to take things back, to take back our education system, to take back our just pure sanity. That's what we got. All right, hitting a quick break here. Back in just a minute. You're listening to Leland Live with April Marie. Well, good evening, everyone. Update on the missing fan. Richard Dixon doesn't know where it is. He goes, "Are you sweating? Is it hot in there?" I'm like, "I'm dying." It is hot. April Marie here, filling in for Leland as long as I don't pass out from heat stroke. No air circulating whatsoever in the studio, and lots of studio lights. So that's happening right now. That's okay. AJ, how did it go? I only caught the beginning. Actually, JD came on, and he had found some hidden treasures in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you didn't end up having to do the show alone yesterday, did you?
Oh, no. I mean, I would have been fine if I did. I mean, we had some great individuals on the show.
Yeah, Shelby Chamber.
Yeah, Andrea Gia, and then and it was good. It was fun. We had a great time.
Yay. All right, let's see where we are. I have ranted and raved about the crazies in New York. Oh, you know what? John Fetterman. I talked about him earlier. I just retweeted him for those of you on the X. I don't even know what to call. You're supposed to call a retweet now on X. I haven't figured it out. I also don't say I X'd because that sounds weird. Like I tweeted. It's a thing. I'm 45 years old. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, and I am just going to refer to them as tweets. I'm at April Marie, APRYLMARIE, and I just reposted. There you go. That's not a tweet. Reposted Fetterman. He, about a little less than an hour ago, he wrote, "Anti-Israel, anti-America, anti-Western civilization. Why am I the only Democrat in the U.S. Senate that refuses to excuse this or defend any of those self-identified communists?" Great question. Great question. I'll go even further and say every Democrat in the nation. Doug Jones, on down. Go ahead, Alabama Democrats. You try to find an excuse for this nonsense. You try to find an excuse for a woman who made excuses for the 9/11 terrorist. You go ahead and defend someone who literally hates our nation, who wants to see everything that our military and soldiers have fought and died for, see that erased. Go ahead and defend it, because you can't. There's no defense. They are showing us who they are, the radicals. And those who are sane, not going to say there's many, these are the same party that likes abortion, calls it reproductive health. Give me a friggin' break. Same party that if it poses voter ID, same party that can't tell you what a woman is, same party that put Jackson on the U.S. Supreme Court. That's who we've got now. And it's got to be harder and harder to defend them. This is the party that's trying to put up a man with a Nazi tattoo who has a history of abusive behavior, according to his ex-girlfriends. That's a problem. It's a very real problem. Coming into the midterms, I was a little worried. But I'm looking at this. They are their own worst enemy. In all fairness, they're the enemy of all of us. Here we go into the 250th anniversary of our country and go into Independence Day. This isn't a Republican Democrat thing. This is a sanity thing. This is a safety thing. I'm watching it and I'm so frustrated. I tell you what, we got somebody. I'm on a good rant here. We got somebody who wants to talk about a coal plant on the line. Now I got to go just out of curiosity. Curiosity is going to get to me. We're going to Randy. Randy, there's a very good chance I might cut you off if you jump into my mojo. What you got going on here today?
Well, I'm on a petition going down here in West Jefferson because they do not burn coal from here in Alabama. They ship it from out west and stuff on trains and stuff. They ought to be made to burn coal from here in Alabama. That would save a bunch of coal jobs.
Interesting. Okay, I have not been paying attention to coal jobs here in Alabama. I'm going to admit that. Today, I am busy railing against the nut jobs elected in New York City. You have any thoughts on them?
Well, yeah, but we need to just. I'm talking about just taking them out back and just whoop them with a good old hickory.
Whoop them. All right, there is an idea.
Yeah.
Okay, Randy, I'm going to look into where our coal is coming from. I might even send a PSC commissioner or two a text on that. I'll see what I can find out for you, Randy.
Okay, I appreciate it.
All right. When I first moved to Alabama, the Democrats were trying to do away with Alabama coal jobs. And that was 13 years ago. I mean, legitimately, that was 13 years ago. And we haven't really heard a lot about them. So there was a little bit of talk about coal ash, and the environmentalists were all upset. It was actually kind of funny because they were fighting with each other. Some were like, put it in a truck and move it. Some were like, bury it because you can't, if you truck it away, you're going to truck it into impoverished neighborhoods. It was a whole brouhaha. But I have not heard about coal jobs lately or even where the coal is coming from. I'll check that out. Okay, go into the next phone line. Chad on the line. Hey, Chad, how's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty swell. I agree with you with, a lot of these accusations against these people that, shouldn't even really be put up. But, I see that only really being talked about on the Democrat side and not the Republican side. And, like Trump that has the same accusations and Hegseth that has the same controversial tattoos. I don't know why it only applies to one side.
Hegseth doesn't have the same controversial tattoos. I thought we got rid of those rumors before he was confirmed.
I don't think so. Some people might have.
Now I've got Hegseth's tattoos are a collection of primarily themed around American patriotism, his military service, and his Christian identity. I'll have to look into him because I don't remember. He's got one that says Latin for "God wills it." That doesn't sound very very controversial. I'll have to look at him.
Or something. Yeah, and then like the accusation stuff. I mean, any man that has an accusation from women like that, should be listened to, but it doesn't get listened to on the Republican side, and I'm not sure why.
I think we listen. I think the only proof you need of what happened to Brett Kavanaugh. Thanks for calling, Chad. We're running into a break here. I think the only evidence you need is Roy Moore and Brett Kavanaugh. Trump's accusations certainly played out in the public and were discredited, and so I think we listened to him plenty. All right. Back in just a minute, you're listening to April Marie filling in for Leland. Well, good evening, everyone. April Marie here, filling in for Leland the rest of this week and early next week. You can find me on X at APRYLMARIE. Yes, I'm on Facebook. Yes, I ignore it largely. I'm sorry, there's only so many hours of the day. My day job is I write over at 1819 News. You'll get to hear from my boss's boss tomorrow during Andrew's program. He'll be filling in. That's Brian Dawson. He'll be filling in tomorrow and Friday for Andrew. All right, let's see. We got several callers on the line. Let's go to Daniel. Hey, Daniel.
Oh, my goodness. Hi, April Marie. How are you?
I'm doing well today. How are you?
I am doing great. Quick question. Every mayor and public servant is supposed to swear and affirm an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. That's from the mayor up. They do that to a court-appointed official. It's usually a judge. Shouldn't that judge have the capability of revocating that oath of office when they clearly hate the United States and they find this mess on their social media? And by revocating the oath of office, wouldn't that disqualify them from serving?
You know, that's a valid question. I'm a big fan. I think we should really be able to have recall elections, and I think there should be a method for when you have politicians. You can get rid of them if they're, in certain places and states, if they are, remove them from office for certain crimes. There are certain laws, but no, if you hate our nation, but here's the problem. In states like New York and California, it's kind of baked into the cake. It's just becoming more and more obvious, and they're getting more and more bold about saying the quiet part out loud. This has been happening for ages, people taking the oath of office. Look at half the members of the squad. I say half, all of the members of the squad for that matter. These are people, We've got people who put Somalia first, people who talk about, how terrible our nation is, support terrorists. And, I feel like Congress should certainly be able to expel those who are there. At the very least, they should never get committee assignments. They should never be recognized on the floor, and they should be largely ignored. Let their casework go through. Federal agencies help the constituents in those districts. But otherwise, we need to do everything we can to make sure that if you aren't abiding by that oath, that you're not recognized.
Well, nowhere in that oath does it say change, manipulate to fit my agenda or anything else.
Exactly.
It clearly says to uphold and defend. And what these people are doing, I don't understand it. I don't know if they all just drank the Kool-Aid or what's going on, because any clear-minded individual, you have to think, okay, they're just doing this to get publicity. There's no way they could truly believe this mess.
That's what I think of the guy in Texas. I'm like, there's no way this is attention-seeking behavior, very reminiscent of toddlers, except the ones in New York are dangerous because I do believe they believe it. I believe they have sympathy for the terrorists. I believe that they do hate Jewish people. I believe that they do hate our nation and feel like they are changing it from within, and we should be very cautious about that.
Well, the LGBTQR, whatever community, sorry, I'm not trying to offend them. I just don't know how many letters there are.
It's okay if you offend them. I don't mind.
For that community, defending Palestinians and everything else, it's a joke. They would cut your head off if you went to their country. It's absolutely absurd.
These queers for Palestine, these Hamas-loving, gender binary individuals, any of them on the LGBTQ scale for that matter, no, they absolutely don't even recognize. Well, I appreciate the call, Daniel.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I truly believe there needs to be some recourse. For those who don't know, I used to work for Congressman Paul Gosar from Arizona. He was censured for a staff member putting up basically reposted a, I don't know if it was it's got to have been AI generated anime video. And AOC lost it. She was like, oh, it's a threat against me, a personal threat. And they censured him. Now the Democratic Party is having individuals who are, just literally hate our nation. There's no, I could put all sorts of fluffy words around it and it wouldn't change what they believe. And no, there's something to that. We're going to go to Joel. Hey, Joel.
Hey, how you?
I'm
Thanks for
good.
taking my call.
Of course. What's up?
Hey, I want to retract. You were talking earlier in the show. A guy called in and y'all was discussing the benefits in Alabama, like the SNAPS program.
Oh yeah, that was very early on in the show. What's up?
Yeah. Well, I get AJ cut the signal down on you or something. I lost your signal for about an hour and a half. So, but anyway, I want to touch on that. The SNAPS program, it needs to be demolished and totally rewritten. Would you not agree?
I think that we need to reevaluate, especially what they need to do. And I will say, I don't know that we need to completely get rid of SNAP because I would hate.
I'm not saying get shut up. I'm saying we need to just demolish that program and rewrite the whole system. It ain't nothing but fraud.
That's what I would say. I would say that we have to get back to the basics of what these programs were for, which they were for they were not for able-bodied grown men and women who just decided that they were entitled to money by way of their existence. And when they were talking about SNAP cuts, and when this became a national conversation and individuals were going grocery shopping and filming themselves and whining and crying about not being able to get their sodas and their sweet treats and their all the things, I think that should have been a wake-up call for us. Somehow we've moved on from that conversation.
I totally agree with you. But, you can buy Coca-Colas and potato chips with a SNAP card.
Yeah,
but a person cannot walk in say a grocery store with a deli. They cannot buy hot food with their SNAP card.
Yeah, that's what the guy was saying earlier. He was calling in about the rotisserie chicken.
Yeah, that right there, that's just a waste of time and money as politics. They're going to try to pass the rotisserie chicken, where you can buy a baked chicken at the rotisserie, but still you can't buy any hot vegetables. You can't buy any hot fried chicken, and not counting the fact that's just. Any store or any business who does that, that's an extra expense on their part because they have to have a special piece of equipment called a chiller that you get a plate. They have to stick that plate in a chiller and knock it down to a certain temperature before they can sell it to you.
Yeah, I was actually just looking that Fetterman has a bill that would reverse that because you can buy the cold or cooled down rotisserie chicken with SNAP, but not the hot rotisserie chicken. It's very odd, nuanced things we got going on here.
That don't even make sense. That's just a waste of taxpayers' money. I don't know what it costs to put a bill through like that, but I'm pretty sure it's expensive. But that's just a waste of taxpayers' money.
Yeah, it looks like there's, and I'm looking at this. It looks like Congress is poised to actually do something about that. I didn't even realize that until today, that's the case. Like I said, I did talk to the bill sponsor.
Most politicians don't even realize that most people can't even buy hot food with their SNAPS cards, but yet they can buy Coca-Colas and potato chips.
Well, not in Alabama. In Alabama, they limited some of that, which is what the first original caller was talking about. Limitation.
I think, I don't know, 6 months ago they limited that now, but before that, I mean, it was the door was wide open.
Oh, and I think we need we need a lot more reform, and I do believe. So look, 5 hours ago. A judge blocked that 5 states from the ban, soda and candy ban, which will be appealed and then will be upheld because it's absolutely ridiculous.
It will be. That's the reason I said it needs to be abolished and just totally rewritten.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people that's on the SNAPS program that shouldn't even be on the SNAPS program, and actually the ones who actually need the program can't get on it.
I've had this conversation about where we are as a nation and getting back to where our churches and our neighbors and our communities. And we saw that when there was uncertainty with SNAP, where the food banks had long lines and such. But I feel like we really need to start being able to rely on our communities more and get people off of, because when you're accountable to somebody, when you have to look somebody in the eye week after week after week, that's different than just getting money loaded onto a card. And
That's totally true.
I do believe, and then you've got individuals. If you're doing it in your churches, you're doing it in your communities, you're doing it with to help your neighbors. Then you have somebody incentivized, a real person looking at you, not the person who approves you for the benefits behind a computer screen, but a real person looking at you and going, "Okay, Johnny, you've been coming every week for 5 months. What's going on? How do we help you get a new job? How do we help you? Whatever it is." But when we started, when we have taken away the human aspect of this, we have done a great disservice to those we have served. There will always be people who are truly needy, and that need is gonna exist, and we should meet that need.
Well, I agree with you on that. But I mean, but if you look at across the state, you know, all the food banks or all the food donation places, you know, they're constantly running out of food.
Oh, absolutely.
Month basis.
Very, very, very frequently, and I have paid attention to a lot of them, especially during that conversation. Well, thanks for calling, Thomas. I've talked us right into a break. I appreciate it.
Hey, one other thing, I'll let you go.
Yes.
You gonna look into the coal industry? I used to work in that industry. Look into how much coal. Now, I don't know about when Trump came in, but before Trump came in, we were sending coal overseas and turning around and buying coal from another foreign country. It's called, we was getting shuttered out dirty coal, as they call it. But I got news for you. Coal is coal. It's got different grades, but all coal is dirty.
Yes, it is. I have not paid enough attention to it. It's been a long time since I paid attention to what Alabama coal is. But I'll reach out to somebody. I'll see what I can find out. I appreciate it. Okay, we're gonna take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's program. Back in just a minute. You are listening to Leland Live with April Marie. I like it when I learn something new. This rotisserie chicken thing, it's like a whole different rabbit hole I've got to go down. I didn't know this was a thing. Also, apparently at Costco you can get a rotisserie chicken for $4.99. I had no idea. I don't go to Costco, but we do a lot with a rotisserie chicken. Although I don't mind getting a cold one. I guess not every store has them. Things I learned today. But look, I am 45 years old, and I'm not exaggerating when I say I've always been able to cook a handful of things. I am a woman of many talents, no cooking among the skills I have. Like it's not a thing. I up until recently, and I say within the last couple of years, I could count on my fingers the number of different meals I could make, and a handful of those were crock pot recipes, which is really sad. But I've been branching out. It's a whole thing. I started with one of those meal planning kits, and then speaking of which, have you seen the big pushback against HelloFresh, AJ?
Yeah, we talked about it on the show. Yeah.
Yeah, HelloFresh apparently decided to just go all in and go a little LGBTQ crazy.
I thought it was a funny ad. I thought it was hilarious.
I think. Did you really?
Yeah, I mean it was funny. I think just real quick.
Who's your intended audience for that?
Yeah, but I think sometimes we tend to get too sensitive and too serious about every little thing that is being done and said. It's like. It was funny. It was just like it was about fiber and cleansing yourself. You know, it was to me that was a joke, and I get the sense of humor. I have a sense of humor like that.
It was just for those who didn't see it. There was a it was a post, and I just like looked it up so that I could quote it. It was about prepping.
Yeah, it was a lot of in your outdoor.
That's what
joke.
It was.
Yes.
Yeah. It was a little extra. But here's the thing: is who makes these decisions for most families? It's the women. It's the women it's the mothers. Like my ex never cared what food service I used. It was like, okay, you found one that works for you. Let's go. And women around this country, that's the kind of humor, you know. And white liberal women. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. You know, I just think like, hey, you know, I thought it was hilarious.
I'm interested to see if they get like the Target treatment. I wasn't buying HelloFresh, so wasn't like something I would have canceled had I been buying it and switched to something else. But it'll be interesting to see at the end of the day how many people they actually lose for that.
Yeah, I don't know. It was in the news for a minute, and then it just kind of went down. Well, there's a flush joke somewhere in there.
Okay.
See, you laugh. See, there you go. You laugh.
I'm like, oh, Lord, have mercy. Potty jokes. You got to come back for Andrew's show for that. Okay, so I said this. I was talking to Damien before the show. I was like seeking him out to give him a hug because he got married. And I was saying, I was listening to Andrew as I was coming in, and the wheel of segments gets me. It kills me. I glued to the radio, and today's was a lot of poop stories. Mm-hmm. And I was like, do listeners get whiplash, like the ones who just sit at their desk going from Andrew to me? Although I'll say, you know, usually the transition has been a little bit more subtle over the last few days versus some days. Some days I was just, you know, jumping on into religious topics or you know, straight up politics or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's a big thing. Yeah, I don't do poop jokes. It's not my sense of humor. Like movies do you like? I'm trying to think. Like the guys' movies, like Ben Stiller type.
I mean, if it's done right,
SNL.
If it's done right, it could be funny. It could be, sometimes it could be a little bit excessive, where it's like, that's just not funny because it's just not.
Like that joke just wasn't funny to me.
It's just like on some of the toilet, it does not stick. You know. See, you laughed again.
And here we are with AJ.
You laughed again. So look at that, 2 in a row.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
All right. Tomorrow we will have in John Wall with us. at the he'll come in about 4 o'clock hour.
We'll tell some poop jokes with him too.
We will probably not be telling any poop jokes for those curious. I've been looking over at AJ. I forgot the camera was here. No, there will be no poop jokes. Unless we have my 7-year-old call in. He's got all of them. All right. It has been a pleasure to be with you today. Earlier, if you caught the gentleman with me, that was Scott Ortiz. He is the incoming, I guess, senator-elect, state senator-elect. We'll have a couple other elected officials in studio with us in the coming days. AJ, thank you for keeping me out of trouble today.
I try.
I ate my weight in sugar.
Yeah. I just ate one of the Three Musketeers and then one of the Mamba candies.
Yeah, you showed self-restraint. I did not.
You're gonna be bouncing off the wall.
Yeah, we're gonna have a problem at my house soon.
Well, I hate for those who get stuck with you in traffic because, boy.
I know. I'm going to be like doing this on the steering wheel. With my seatbelt buckled, by the way.
Yes.
All right. Until tomorrow, you guys stay out of trouble.
All right. Break and Break coming up next. Goodbye, AJ.